Yeah, in PRPC, in the user portal or manager portal anywhere, if you log in and go to dashboard, there is something called get next to work. The moment I click on get next to work, you see the assignment is getting opened and loaded here. Let it get loaded. Let's wait for it to get loaded. Okay. It's taking long duration. Assignment has been loaded. This should be there in the work list. If you go to my work, 13,006 somewhere it should be available. Okay, here. Maybe it is at the bottom somewhere, most stage task or something. Maybe I have to just get it. Usually that algorithm will be there here created based on the highest priority. Maybe the task has highest priority of 100 at the time of SLA and all. So highest priority task will come into top of the list usually. Here the algorithm may not be working for sorting, but it will come on top of the list without going to my work and loading all the assignments and clicking on first assignment. From the dashboard itself, if you click on get next work, from the list of assignments that are being assigned to you, the highest urgency task with most stage will automatically be picked and opened. This is what get next work functionality. Makes sense, everyone? Clear? Get next work is a predefined feature provided by Pega. The advantage is it is not required to load the entire work list table in the UI. You don't need to go to my work. Right? Click on get next work. Highest urgency task will be picked and opened. Okay, that's how it will become faster. Next, let me tell you the next one related to the same. I will go to Dev Studio. In the Dev Studio, if you go to operator profile, you go to operator profile, work tab. Here you see work queue. What do you see? Work queue. You can add work queue 1, work queue 2 like this. Not this, I'm sorry. Or some work basket 1, work basket 2, like this. Okay, n number of work baskets you have. And one more work basket you will have access through your work group. In your operator profile, work group is there. Through work group, one work basket is there. You are adding additional work baskets that you can access. Here, this facility is there. There is one checkbox. Get work from queue first. See, I'll tell you one example where you are being assigned with some assignments. Those assignments will be there in your work list, correct? Apart from this, there are some assignments routed to some work basket called work basket. Let's say ABC work basket. As an operator, you have access to that work basket also. Now, you have assignments in your work list. You have assignments in your work basket also. Basket might be accessible to multiple people. Which one is priority do you think to work on first, basket or list? Which one is priority to work on? Generally, yes. Work list. Yes. Anything that is directly assigned to you, you have to focus and work on it. Anything which is there in basket, either you or someone else will take. When you click on get next work, always the assignment will be picked from work list. Suppose your work list is empty, then it will pick the assignments from work basket. Understand? You have access to 5 work baskets. Which work basket will be? First to default work group related work basket it will search. Then it will come to these work baskets and take from here. So that is general process. Now I am explaining about this option now. Get from work queue first means get assignment from work basket first. Suppose if this checkbox is selected, get next work will work differently. How it will work, I'll tell you. When you click on get next work, imagine you have assignments in your work list as well as some assignments are there in work baskets for which you have access to. Now, if for the operator, if get work from work queue first is selected, then every time when you click on get next work, assignments will be picked from the work queue instead of work list. Given this checkbox is selected, what does this checkbox says? It changes the priority. The priority will go to work queue than work list. That is what this checkbox. Get next work always fix the work from work list. But in the operator file, when you select the option of get work from queue first, then get next work will pick the work from work queue. If no tasks are there in work queue, then it will pick from work list. Reverse, exactly. So what is the order it will check? This is the order that you have. Understand everyone clear? Online resources. Everyone online clear?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. This is the predefined feature that is provided by Pega. And next, I'm going to explain about the concept of logging. L-O-G-G-I-N-G. Logs, simply speaking, log files. This is a concept. See, generically, it is not about Pega. Either Pega or Java or .NET or mainframes or Salesforce or anything. Any business application, when the application runs in live environment, there is a possibility that there will be some exceptions. Application transactions will get terminated abruptly. Users will have no clue of what is happening. As a result, they will call the customer care, informing the same. I am trying to withdraw money, transaction got closed automatically, or otherwise I got some error screen which I cannot understand. Something is happening. The issue may be because of anything. Okay. And they report it to customer care. Customer care team creates a request. Request will be forwarded to production support team. Request is going to be forwarded to production support team. Okay. Now, production support team has to look into it. When they open the request ticket, there will be details about the issue. Based on the issue, they have to identify what is the root cause and fix it. But they should know exactly what is happening, right? In the enterprise application, I mean, like in the real world, business users, whatever that they are doing, the errors that happens, they may take screenshot of the error, send it, or they may not be able to take it. They may not take it. They will not give you anything. They will tell you, this is my operator ID. On my operator ID, I made a transaction, failed. I closed everything now, but the issue is there. This is what they may tell you. Some cases they will provide screenshots and all. But one more thing is, you cannot ask the business user to do the transaction once again with same data and face the issue, because real business transaction you should not do it for simply. And as a developer, you cannot log into, as a support person, you cannot log into live servers and do transactions. That is not allowed. Whenever you are being given with some issues like this, the first place where you have to look at to identify the details about the issue is log files. Is what? Log files. Means it's like a text file, dot extension dot log. Extension is dot log file. Okay, log extension. There, the information about the execution will be written. If you are working on Java, .NET and all, what to be written in the log files have to be implemented by you. But when you are working with Pega, minimum execution details will be automatically written in the log files by PRBs. Additional information, anything you wanted to write in the log files during the execution, you need to call an activity and use a method called log message. What is the method? Log message. Make sense, everyone? There is a video also already available in our YouTube channel. If you have watched by this time, you would have known about it. If you did not watch, that is up to you. Okay, log message method. For this, you mentioned some text and all. You see step status fail. Then jump to a step which is log message and write down log so and so ID. In the logging, usually we will log px create date time, px update operator, okay, px create operator. All these parameters will log. Okay, px create date time. Along with this, error message. Okay, in order to log error message, there is a function. What is the function? get worst message. That's it. There is no parameters. I think parameters will be tools. Parameter will be tools. That's it. This will give you are getting error message on a tracer, right? Exact same error message will be written onto logs. Okay, some files it will be written on along with timestamp and everything. Operator ID, who is accessing this, everything you are logging in. And current time also will log in. PX current time, date, time, like this you will be, and what time is it getting issued. So if you want to go to log files to see in Pega, you need to go to this navigation, system, operations, logs. Anyhow, I am recording, you can watch this video. I'll post in YouTube and you can watch. Log files. Okay, here you have log files. So many are there, out of which you need to focus on Pega logs. Alert logs also you may focus. Alert logs will have database queries with alert codes and all. I'll come to that. Pega logs. Go to Pega logs. See, there is some information getting written here. Details like this. So when you go through it, you will be able to understand the details which you are writing will get logged here. Okay, and there will be so much of data in the log files in enterprise. Morning issue happened, they have reported afternoon. In between there are so many people who would have in between there are so many people, they would have done so much of execution, and log files would have been written much data, right? When you open log file, you need to search with the operator ID. One thing, search with operator ID who is accessing reporting this issue. You will find some details in the log files. That is how you will go through the respective place in the logging to find error message. If not that, if you know if he is going to report afternoon, morning, 10 o'clock, 10 minutes, during that time issue happened, you need to go to timestamp. During that time, any error messages are there. That's how when there is no other data provided to you, you have to blindly do like this. Based on the issue, you will be able to understand when you have application knowledge. You need to find the root cause and fix it. So now, this log files data, what is been written, you will be able to access like this in Pega. Go to log files and open Pega logs. Sorry, Pega logs. Why they are opening in the same browser? Pega logs, and here log file information will be there. What is the importance of this logging? Logging importance is during the production support, means whenever the issues happens in the live, usually even in the development also, but mostly in the live, the issue details when you write in the log files, it is permanently available on the server. You will be able to understand what is the issue by the information that you are going to get through this logging. Understand? So that is the advantage. That's why every technology has the concept of logging. Now, this is about logging. Log level settings, if I have to explain you, see, based on this log level settings, logging information will be done. By default, basic information Pega will write. Suppose services. Just hold on. Queue service. If I select this option, and then if I am going to say OK, somewhere it should be available below. I'm getting navigation issue. Debug. Okay, I'll tell you about these things first of all. Info means just a high level of data will be written into the log files. That's it. Debug means log level setting. Debug means you are getting on the tracer, right? When you are debugging, entire information on the tracer will be written, almost, not everything, but almost. See, such huge data if you are writing in the log files in enterprise, log file size will occupy entire space on the hard disk. That will lead to issues. So it is never recommended to choose debug level in live servers. Development you can do, no problem. And warning means you are seeing yellow color messages, right? That type of messages will be written into log files. Alert means alert codes. I'll tell you. Error means exception details and all. Okay. Fatal is internal server error. Fatal means internal server. It is not about your development and all. It is not about Pega execution. Rules engine level failures are there. That will be fatal. Off means nothing will be logged. All means some information, but without debug only it will add. Like this, if you're going to add this particular log level to be chosen, then the respective level of information will be written into the log files. That will help the production support team to find out the issue. Apart from log files, you will go to tracer, correct? Now coming to the tracer, I will create a case type, auto insurance. Why my camera is turned on? Just hold on. It should be off. Okay, this is where you are. What is the screen where we have called connect SOAP? Do you remember? Is it vehicle information screen? Connect SOAP we have used, right? Suppose you are just sending a request. I think win 999 is there. Tracer and then validate. Execution should happen. I will wait. I think it is not there. We changed it to external database. After that, I given different data. 001 is data type. Now you go to tracer. There is some information written. See, in order to trace services in the tracer, you need to deal with these options. This option, SOAP messages related to SOAP, services related, service messages, stream rules like that, queue processor related. These options you have to select accordingly. Queue processor related, parse rules also you wanted to go with. Like this, you need to select. When you select, at the time of calling connect SOAP, you see stream begin, stream and SOAP service request, SOAP service response. Click on SOAP service request. This is the request XML. It is very easy. Tracer settings, you have to just make an observation. Okay. Similarly, you can tell me response. You can see here. This is the response rate. Everyone clear? This is how you can see request and response on the tracer. Just for your information. This is how debugging is very easy when you research on the options that are available provided on the tracer. But this request data and response data, it won't be written on the clipboard. See, like you, there will be a number of people in the real business are going to make the business transactions and request for the services, right? It will become so much huge data. Okay, so Pega will never maintain any of the parameters data on the clipboard. These are all parameters. SOAP message at response, SOAP message at request. These are all what? Parameters data. So this parameters data will not be stored onto clipboard in order to maintain the space on clipboard, to minimize the utilization of the size of the clipboard with respect to bytes and all. Makes sense, everyone clear? So this is about another thing that I have to tell you. And apart from this, see, alert logs are there. Okay, if you go to system operations, where is it? Logs, log files, alert logs are there. If you go to alert logs, you see, I will share you the document related to alert codes and all. Okay, or even if you Google also, you will get it. Everywhere you see Pega 005, 001, 00, Pega 37, I'll take. I'll go to Google. You don't even need to go to Google actually. You can get everything in the home version help itself. See here, based on the alert code, you'll be able to identify what is this. This alert indicates that your Pega platform, whatever the platform, 7 or 8 or 10 platform, took an unusual long time to assemble a rule. Okay, the total time is equivalent to Java assembly time plus some other compilation process time means you can understand something rule level, engine level, it is taking long duration. It might be timing out something like that. Okay, you take another alert codes 50. So ikkade untayi alert codes మొత్తం in this document only. See, only thing that one should have is you need to little bit of research you have to do. This is the Java coding injection pattern identified. You may not be able to understand this with your knowledge, but where would I get all the alert codes? That's what I am trying to find out. It is better, I will show you. But each individual code, when you Google it, you will get it. Okay, but I will show you from this one. Help. Pega platform help. Why it is loading like this? I need search. Pega alert. Again, same thing is being given. Action alert section. I want all alert codes at one place. ఇక్కడ రావాలి యాక్చువల్గా. See here, Pega 001 HTTP interaction time exceeded limit means from your browser server time response time it's gone timeout. Pega 002 commit operation time exceeds. You have done a commit. Commit has taken long duration to commit. That is internally it will have some values that is exceeding than expected. So your application is slow. So based on alert codes, you will be able to identify here what is its meaning, and you should be able to identify the issue, understand the issue, somewhat information. Understand? Pega 007 database operation time exceeds, and Pega 005 query that you have written is taking too long duration. Like this, alert codes will be available. I will send you a document of some of the alert codes, whatever the time. Okay, this is how Pega alert logs will give you information about the alert codes that are happening on the time. For that operator specific time interval, take the alert code and search it and see what is the issue. That is also another way to find out the issue. Understand? So this is about Pega log files and alert codes and log level setting, info, debug, alert, wall. Okay, get this work and this one get work from work basket first. And what else should I tell you? I will explain about guardrails of PRBs. They may ask you in interviews during manager round of interview. Managers, they don't know too much technical, right? They will ask you what are the guardrails of Pega suggested by Pega. Guardrails means spelling enti GUARD GIURD spellings రావని చెప్పాక rails. Okay, there are top 10 guardrails suggested by Pega. చూద్దాం ఎక్కడ ఉన్నాయో. Top 10 guardrails in Pega. Oh, చాలా మంది చాలా వెబ్సైట్స్ పెట్టుకుంటున్నారు. See here, master Pega website. See, these are the top 10 that Pega says. Basically, one should be aware of what are these top 10. First one is Adaptive top 10 guardrails means top 10 practices that you have to follow while you are developing your business application. Adaptive and iterative approach for your project application development. Meaning that suppose your project is 1 year, you should not develop 1 year and then finally release. You should set up some releases, 3 months, 2 months, once in 2 months it should be developed and released like that. Iterative approach should be there. Second one, build a solid foundation. What does it mean? Anyone can tell this? What does it mean? What is meant by build a solid foundation? What is building a solid foundation? Solid foundation for your application development. What does it mean?
Having knowledge on every concepts of Pega.
That is not foundation, right? What is building a solid foundation of your application? See, your application that you are going to develop should have a proper framework and implementation structure to be able to be easily extendable in future. To be, suppose if you want to drop off some functionality also, you should be able to easily drop off. It should not be a tedious task in future. Anything that you design and develop should be maintained easily. It means you have a good foundation for your application. That's how easily expandable. If you want to drop off something, you should be able to easily drop off. Any change you want overall throughout organization, at one place you modify, it should reflect everywhere. That's how properly you have to design your application to have a better foundation. Do nothing that is hard. అంటే ఏంటి, కష్టమైన పనులు ఏమి చేయదు, అంతేనా? Don't do anything that is difficult, correct? If you find the requirement is difficult, you leave it. What is meant by do nothing that is hard? చెప్పండి. Do nothing that is hard means, see, any business requirement that you implement should be easily understandable. The way of design and development should be made easily understandable to future developers. You are doing something which is harder to understand, harder to extend, harder to modify, then that is not the best way of developing the things. Other developers also should be able to easily understand. Other developers also should be able to easily expand and modify it. Understand? That's what do nothing that is. Limit custom Java code means you don't write any Java code by yourself. Always get back to Pega systems. Build for change. This is the caption of Pega. Build for change means as per the quick changes in the market, business will change quickly. Business changes will come into picture quickly. Overnight business changes will happen. Your application should be able to be adaptable to the changes that happens in the real business in the outside. So business is happening one way. For that you have developed your application. Business model has been changed in the market. Now your application changes should be made quickly. It should support making the changes quickly to be able to be cope up with the market. Okay. Design intent driven process means intent means workable. Always it is workable processing only. Create easy to read flows, meaning that a flow you divide into sub flow, screen flow, small called together everywhere, so that it will be easy to understand and easy to extend. If you have a flow with 100 flow shapes, is it possible to understand? It will be difficult. So do not create any flows which are difficult to understand, so many decisioning directions and all. Make it small flow shapes, flows, and call it here and there. And monitor performance regularly by using performance tools. Maybe external tools or Pega provides PAL, performance analyzer. And calculate and edit declaratively, not procedurally. Pega suggests you to use declarative rules, but only when it is needed you have to go with, but not always. Keep security object oriented to anyhow. Pega is developed based on Java, it is object oriented. Other than this, what are the other best practices that we have to follow? In interview, they will ask you, have you ever done peer review of your colleagues' development? And what are the things that you are going to look at when you do review? If they ask you, You tell me so far what are the best practices that we have to bother about in our development from the beginning. What are the best practices to be followed?
Avoid
What are the best
activities.
practices? So, one by one.
Use
One by one,
OOTB
Japan
features.
best practices. You can type it here, or please be a little bit louder. Writing your own activity should be avoided. One best practice. Next, tell one by one, everyone. What are the other best practices? Use, that is what, right? Use OOTB rules, one best practice always. Writing your own activity should be avoided. Second, using case type is not a best practice. Who told that that is a best practice? But that is a design provided, not a best practice. Provided by Pega. Before Pega provides the design, many people have done it by themselves.
Declarative rules.
Best practice. Declarative rule cannot be concluded as a best practice, but Pega says it, but it is not in the reality. Use data transform instead of activity. Okay, another best practice. Tell me more about other best practices.
Report definition.
Create unit test cases may or may not be best practice because Pega do not support writing all unit test cases fully. So far, it is not fully. Use report definition instead of activity obj browse. It is better to go ahead. Tell me more other best practices. What are the other best practices? OBJ or RDB is not a best practice. RDB is a specific need, OBJ is a specific need. That is not best practice. Remove unnecessary pages from clipboard always. Always try to remove the pages which you are creating. That is a best practice. Furthermore, use data classes to create properties always, and use page properties to access them. Create sections into data classes and access into work classes using pages. This is another best practice. Like this, there are so many best practices. Using data pages for common data is a best practice. Do not use deprecated rules. That is, instead of standard advanced agent, use processor and job scheduler. That is the best practice. Deprecated rules you try to avoid. That is the best practice. Use data pages for common data is the best practice. Any other best practices like this? Use the page name as primary instead of directly writing the page names. Use primary. That is another best practice. Like this, you can see so many best practices that you have done so far. At the time of this video, I will post. At the time of going through this video, you write down all this, whatever I have told. Use exposed columns for report definition is the best practice. Expose the columns that you are using in report definition is a best practice to avoid performance issues. This is also another best practice. Anything else like this? Anything did I forget? This is one of the important best practice, whatever that he has told. Whoever has told it, use exposed columns is one of the important best practice that one should follow.
DSS.
And another important one is use data pages, common data. Next, furthermore, what are the other best practices? Anything else you can imagine? You can remember, recollect.
Use DSS.
Use dynamic system settings instead of adding attributes into config files. This is another best practice, important one. Okay, next. Best practices. So while you are going through this video, just write down all these best practices and even send it to me. Okay, so this is how you have to deal with following the best practices during your review also. Okay, there should not be any hard coded data. That is also one best practice. See, business is telling you this rule, so and so stuff should be executed only from the production release date, that is 12th December 2022. Because it is fixed one, you should not hard code 12th December 2022. Instead, what you should do, put it in DSS and read it. Suppose after you move it to another environment, if they change the requirement, easy thing is without redeploying, you change the DSS value even after move to live environment, even after move to UAT environment. You understand what I am saying? See, there is a step in the activity. Just as an example, there is a step in the activity you are adding. Otherwise, you are creating a circumstance of activity or any rule. They said that 12/12/2022 is the production release date. From that time onward, from that date onwards, circumstance should be picked because it is a common date you hard coded. Okay, date you hard coded. Now, after it went to UAT, they changed the production release date to what? 2023 February 14. Then what you do? No, you have to again change the rule where you have mentioned the date and all, redeploy to QA, QAT to UAT. You have to do all testing again. Instead of that, if you create it as DSS and you can simply expose the DSS, you move only DSS, then DSS you modify directly in the live by export, by rule delegating it. Then it will be done. DSS value change, automatically it will work accordingly. This is also another type of practice. So don't hard code anything by yourself. Next, what else are the best practices that you have? These are the main best practices. Okay, main best practices, everything whatever we have discussed so far is main best practices. Okay, and one more thing is, whenever you are using table layouts and all, if you double click on table layout in the first tab, you have an option of pagination. Did I tell you this before? Means you have 100 records, 10 records in page 1, you'll get next icon, page number 1, 2, 3, like that. That is a best practice. Pagination to have in the table layouts will be a best practice, because in development server data will be very less, but in live data may be used. While you are testing in development, it is faster. When you go to live, it is very slow. What is the reason? Huge data you are loading. 10,000 records loading into single screen will take a lot of time. Out of 10,000, 10 records display in first part of the screen. Click on next, remaining 10. Click on next, remaining 10 will be easy. It will improve the performance of the application. Okay, so this is how pagination also is one of the best practice to have in the table layouts. Okay, make sense everyone? So see, if you are attending interviews already, okay, I'll stop the technical here. If you are already attending interviews, the questions that you are facing, which you find is not being discussed here or which you find is difficult, you post the question or scenario under the comment section of our YouTube channel, because every day I'm responding to comments, maximum in 24 hours. If you send me in WhatsApp and all, I may forget. You post there, I will reply within 24 hours with the answer, and later you can discuss with me further if you want to discuss. Okay, so that is what the process I request you to follow. Okay, and we discussed about resume preparation and projects to mention, right? Everyone started preparation of resume, online resources. See, other than the options, okay, I'll tell you one more thing which I did not tell you so far, but you know you should be able to do it by yourself even if I tell you today or not. See, I'll open a property, any property. I'll open this. Country property is there. Okay, I created country property as a text import, as a text property and drop down. Correct. This drop down will have local list or dynamic list. Where did I configure dynamic list? Let's talk about dynamic. Where did I configure populating this drop down dynamically? Where did I make that configuration of populating it dynamically? You explain me with database. Where did I do that configuration of dynamically populating the drop down by using database? Exactly at what place you have to do the configuration?
A report definition. Under data page, we have a report definition where we can do that.
చెప్పండి report definition. Okay, database we did it, but where did I mention that this has to be loaded by database under? Where did we mention that?
In the source, in cell property, we have a source. In that, we can select database.
You have list to source. There you have
Source.
screen one. You have chosen it. In screen two also, I have country drop down. Some other screen I am designing. Where else? There also I want country. What should I do now again? In screen two also I have to mention the list to source same way or not? Clear? Instead of that,
Yeah.
suppose if I create this property, I'm sorry. If I create a property test, okay, some name, whatever the name that is, page list. What is the class? By in the application CNA data, let's say countries, page list. I want to populate this property always data onto this property by referring to a database. I will call a database here, database one. This database will call report definition, will fetch the data and put it on its database. From this database, copy from database. From this database, it is going to copy the data into countries list property. When it will happen, wherever I use this property, database will be called, data will be retrieved and assigned to this particular countries. Now, in future also, in any screen, if I add countries property with a drop down, I don't need to choose list to source. The moment UI gets loaded, database will load the countries property drop down values automatically. Understand? It need not to be page list, it need to be even text input also. I mean, like text also, okay. Okay, of drop down type and all. This is the advantage. Okay, so you directly on the property itself you call a database, then it will be wherever you use the property, it is going to get the data. But I'll explain you one more thing. Copy from database, refer to a database. Let's try to understand this. Refer to a database. When I mouse around to this, what am I getting? I will just tell you. Just hold on. I'm expecting when I mouse over some text, I'm expecting. It is changing, right? Refer to a database. When database parameters change and refer to a non-parameter value is made, the system loads new database. Reads from and writes. Okay, it also ledu pakkan pedam. Writes to the property occurs on the new database. Okay. Copy from database. When the parameter value being passed to the database changes and non-parameter value is referenced, I'll copy. See, you will not find any difference. You will not find much difference in this sentence. That's why I want to read it, but I am not good at reading these things. Because if you read, you will understand better. Where is the difference? When database page parameter changes, pass it to the database changes, non-parameter to new database from the. All this is same. This part is same or not? What is there? Interactions with the property happen on the copied data. Okay, అది కూడా నాకు అర్థం కాల. Anyone can explain this difference who is already working on Pega? Any one of you? Refer to a database, copy data from database. What does it mean? Huh? What is the difference? Refer to a database, copy data from database. Those resources, who is working on Pega, you have to respond to say. Even the reason why I copied is, even if you read, you don't understand. That is usually possible. Copy data from database, you able to understand? What does it mean? I have this property, right? What is the property? Test property. Test property, test 1, test 2, two properties are. Test 1 property, copy data from database. Test 2 property, refer data from database. This is what is being mentioned. Where is the difference? Both of these will call the database. Both of these in cases, database will get executed, data will get retrieved and loaded onto database. But where is the difference?
Parameter value changes when the parameter value changes
Both of
in
them
copy
have
from a data.
parameters. Not a big deal. I don't know why they are writing parameter. Value changes. Parameter one time you are passing value 1, second time you are passing value 2. Okay, it is okay, they write it. Cheppandi ఇప్పుడు parameter changes. Go ahead. Parameter value changes. Go ahead. You're saying something. What will happen? Parameter, you need to speak out. Whether it is right or wrong, no problem. First
When
you
the
come up with your
parameter
answer.
value in copy from a data page, when the parameter value changes, it will load a new it will load the data page again.
Okay, what about this one?
Refer to a data page will every time load the data page.
Then you told the same, right? Oh, every time means even if the parameter value doesn't change. Is that what you are
Yes.
saying? If it is loading every time, even if you are not changing parameter value, is it going to distract the concept of database or not? You are loading database every time, even if the parameter value is not changing. This statement, is it correct or wrong with respect to fundamental concept of database? Is it violating the fundamental of database concept or not?
Yes.
Database concept itself is you share it, right? Parameter is not changing, it should share, it should not load. Parameter changing, it should load, no problem. That usually happens. Yeah, say another answer, anyone else? Any other answer? Copy data from database, refer to a database. This is what? What is it? Did anyone type here? Even you can Google. By this time you have to respond, right? Why you are sitting idle, making me to explain you? Google it now and tell me. But even after you Google, whether you understand or not, that is what I wanted to know. You go to Google and then try to find out and tell me. What is the meaning of reference? Reference means అంటే మీ రెజ్యూమేకి నేను రెఫరెన్స్ ఇవ్వడం కాదు. Reference means
Whatever the data or property we have in a class, that will be referred to that property.
I'm not asking about referring to it. Okay, what is other terminology used for reference? What is the other terminology or other word you can use for refer? See, if they are going to ask you in interviews this type of question, the first thought you would be getting is I did not teach you. Only that thought you will get. 90% of the people, not everyone. As a result, they will just put the blame on someone else and they don't research. That's why I'm waiting for you to research and respond. Did you get anything? So do one thing. Every time you should not live like this. Tomorrow you must say this, but even if you go through pdn.pega.com and read, you don't understand. Probably you will not be able to understand. But you try there. Okay, value get copied versus value get read. If data page value changes, it reflects versus just read once. It should make sense, clear sense. Refer to simply points to the property to the data page, correct? If the data page is read only, you won't be able to make any modifications to the property. That is general concept. Copy from simply looks at the data page and copies into the property, meaning you can do whatever you want and it will be saved to the work object. Perfect. That's why I'm asking you to research on it. See, copy data from database is very much clear. Database will get loaded, data will be copied again to the work object related property and it will get stored along with the work object into your work table. But reference doesn't work like this. Reference means just point to it. It will refer to a data page. Every time when you use this property, it is going to load onto the data page, which will not be reflected into property unless you explicitly store it. And it will not be stored into your work table at all. So reference is like a pointer. You wanted to load a data page by a pointer. That is a reference property. But you want to load onto data page as well as load the same onto property, which you will be using in the regular process of transaction. Then that is what copy from data page to the property. Okay, reference you need always just as a reference to be loaded onto clipboard, which you will make use, but you will not make it part of transaction work object storing. Copy is you load onto database as copy to your property. It will come in the transaction model, utilize plus you store into work object data table, work object table. You understand? That is clear, correct? That is correct. Whatever the person has told. See, if you start researching like this, your skill of your skill will get improved automatically. When you are self-learning the things, skill will be improved far better than when you are learning from others. That's why I want you to research. So reference will never get the data to be being part of the work object, but copying will make the data to be part of work object and its storage. Okay, and it will be saved along with the work object. Whatever you told is 100% correct. Simply to remember, reference is a pointer. That's it. It points. Okay, use this property. It points to a data page and loads the data page. Data of the data page utilize. It won't get stored as part of your work object. Your database will be created separately, right? Even you use the database, it won't get stored in the work object. Correct? But if you copy the database data into another property, which you use in work object and process it, it will get stored or not. That is the change. That is the difference. Okay. Fine. We will continue tomorrow. Did I tell you Friday there is no session? Tomorrow there will be session. Okay. We'll continue tomorrow. I will share this video to you guys in some time by afternoon. By the time morning you wake up, US people will be there. Go through this video, write down these two reference and all whatever that he has told, and write down all the best practices in a notes. Guardrails also you want to write down, no need actually. Okay, you go to any Google or you want to write down, you will write down something. Or listen and remember also. Okay, but you must write this one. You must write best practices. Draft and send it to me, best practices. Okay, fine. We'll continue tomorrow. Thank you.